Oh shoot! It's guys. We're back. Episode 12. Joe's here with me. I'm always excited to talk about books, to talk about what we got, what we looked at, everything like that. We're doing, and this is right now. We have no one watching, guys. We're doing a giveaway, and we'll talk about it throughout the show. You'll have a chance, and I mean, sometimes giveaways are crap. Joe, I don't even know if you saw. This is the giveaway.
Yeah.
Dog Days or Stray Dogs. Dog Days #1. This is the Ghostbuster exclusive. Gorgeous cover. I'm sort of sad to part with it, but I was just to encourage you guys to like our show, watch our show, and be with us on Instagram. We'll talk about throughout the show how you have a chance to win this book, guys. I have a stack of exclusives similar to this, to where throughout here and there we will be doing the giveaways. So this is the exclusive. This is what you could win, and I'll tell you how you can win it and what you have to do between now into the show, but also maybe a little bit just to give everyone a chance to know, hey, we're going to be giving away some pretty cool books. So that, well, like I said, I'm excited about that. But Joe, did you hit the shop this week? Always got to find out. Have you hit the shop? Did you not?
I did. I went early.
What'd you get?
Saga, Step by Bloody Step, Girl Scouts.
Ooh, how pretty is that?
It's awesome. It's awesome. A couple other things. I looked for that G.I. Joe.
The Saturday morning cartoon or whatever?
No, the variant with the...
Oh, the Helix and...
Yeah. I didn't see it. I saw it, but they hadn't put it out yet. So, I mean, I was early. I was like 10:05. No, I got Supermassive to check that out because we talked about it last week. The Noir Philadelphia. I mean, I loaded up. Like, I basically got
I'm sorry for costing
every
you money.
book we talked about last week that I was like, oh, I should check that out. I was like fourth person in the store, grabbed everything I wanted. I mean, I was in and out in 4 minutes, but
yeah. But you'd already done the research.
And then one more thing, I got Radio Apocalypse #2. So
nice.
Yeah, it was a good day. I haven't even read everything. I'm kind of like trying to space it out.
The only thing I walked away with 2. I have some in my box because I hit all the different stores. I grabbed Killer.
You got your Killer
State of Affairs.
I looked at it. It reminded me of that Rick Remender book that I'm really into.
Yeah, the Righteous Thirst for Vengeance.
Yeah,
it's potentially good, but no one dies in the stupid book.
Oh,
so I was so frustrated. It's all about them waiting to kill someone.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, okay, now I have to read the second book. I mean, it's great because it sucked me.
That's cool.
It feels like it actually feels like I'm reading like the beginning of Wanted, the Mark Miller.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Just from the standpoint of, okay, my life sucks. This is why am I doing this type thing? But I was, and the only reason I ended up buying it was I happened to follow up on the unlocked variant about the trade dress.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this is a really good looking cover. I wanted it anyways.
I picked it up and flipped through it, and I was impressed with how it looked.
Yeah.
So I may try and read it sometime.
So, well, guys, we're gonna jump in. We're gonna look, see what you think about the books that are coming out this upcoming week. So, we got 3 books over. We're gonna talk about some of these throughout. Guys, there's a ton of second prints this week. We're gonna actually spend some time talking about because there's just so many. One cover I do want to highlight that on this first slide here is because it's the only time you get to see it is this design variant. I'm usually not big on design variants. I'm actually so on this design variant, but this is a 1 for 200. So a 1 for 200 on a What If Miles Morales story. I can't think of too many stores jumping in and buying What Ifs. I mean, I don't know, Joe, when you go in, do you see a stack of What If comics?
No, and I wouldn't have thought that this was anything until I dug a little bit further, and it seems like maybe they're pushing something.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. We'll talk a little when we get to some more of the covers. We'll talk about some of that. The only way that I think stores are going to end up with the 1 for 200s, I mean, your big stores, of course, will, but there's probably about 4 or 5 stores that are doing store exclusives for this cover. So that's how those stores will have 4 and 5 copies of this strictly because they had to buy 3,000. So that's to do that. I actually talked to a store today about store exclusives. And he's like, we can't buy in for 1,000. The small stores, it's such a risk. So, as far as especially Marvel and knowing what people buy at their store,
right?
So let's jump in and look a little bit at what we have. What was hot last week, guys? Last week was not a on fire week. The books that were hot, people knew about, and they were priced at that still. Like this Suzumaki, her stuff is a 50. It's a 1 for 25, and it starts at $50. But I saw it today for $50. Online, you can find multiple copies ranging from $40 to $50. So it's double ratio, but it's not $200 like her first cover. Her first cover caught everyone off guard. The stores had enough time. Most stores probably went out and got 25 copies of Catwoman because the first one went for $200. This Swaby cover is going for around $15 to $20. You might be lucky. Most stores don't go down and buy the Black History Month, Asian Pride Month, Latino Heritage, and Native American. They might buy 1 to 2 copies. Sometimes they look ahead. I think Jen Bartel did a series of just great covers and for like Silk and Emma Frost and all these different ones. And our LCS bought like 70 copies of it. It was just open order. And he goes, "Oh no, our manager think this should be the book." And I was like, "I think you still have 70 copies of it because no one." But I mean, I admit it's a good cover. But to me, it was no different than the other ones. This one, we both looked at it. I was like, "Okay, this is one that it's Riri. It's a great cover. The way he did it, the Miles one, I sort of surprised me just because I didn't like the colors on the Miles one that came out, I think, last week.
Yeah, the pink.
Yeah. It was okay, but it wasn't quite.
I liked it. It was almost right.
Yeah, that's sort of how I felt. I was like, there's just something. And then this other one, the Deathstroke Incorporated #6. Like we said last time, they snuck by us. Who buys 25 copies of this book? Now I think people bought 25 copies of this one, so it sits at 50, but it was at 50 from the start. So that's that tricky.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a store, if it sells for 40, hey, you made your money. So I understand their view. But yeah, I wasn't as big on that one. I think it's an Alex Gardner cover. But let's dive in there, guys. There's some fun books this week that I definitely do like and we'll look at. Here's our sort of list of sort of what we're covering through. There's more that we'll talk about. Definitely going to hit Strange #1 and Spider-Woman 20, and you go, why? And I'll explain why. Batman Killing Time, What If Miles Morales, Star Wars High Republic, and then some other stuff. Strange #1. Joe, have you read any of the Death of Doctor Strange?
None.
So I read the first 3 or 4. Of course, you and I both picked up the Death of Doctor Strange Bloodstone.
Yeah. Which I haven't read.
Yeah, it's a great cover, and it's worth picking up just strictly because of the cover. But it's actually a fun sort of read. I read through it, and it has a first appearance in it. But it's basically the premise of the story is Doctor Strange. Someone kills Doctor Strange. It's a whodunit. Who killed Doctor Strange? I haven't read the last couple issues, so I don't know who did it. But Doctor Strange left a piece of himself in the past that comes back, and so now you have Doctor Strange from the 70s guiding them through trying to solve his own murder. And so, but there's all these things of like the Sorcerer Supreme has the locks to all the different prisoners of all the magic around. So now that he's dead, these locks are slowly unraveling. So that's how these different characters are coming about. So evidently Clea, or I think is her name, Doctor Strange's old girlfriend from the 70s in that legit 70s comics. Not just from the 70s, but like
right.
She becomes Sorceress Supreme, and so she's the Sorcerer Supreme for now. I don't know, who knows how long, who knows how relevant she'll be. But of course, Marvel jumped on it. They pulled in their favorite sexy girl cover artist, Art Germ and J. Scott Campbell, and they do a regular cover and then they do a Virgin cover. The Art Germ is a 1 for 200. The J. Scott Campbell is a 1 for 500 Virgin cover. So those will, I don't think I know anyone that's going to pay $500 for any of those. but they're never going to be under $300 either. So the one that I think you're going to want to get is this one for $25, because there's supposed to be a first appearance of a character called the Harvester, and that's him on the cover. The cover A has him sort of, but this is the one where it's a sort of clearer picture of what he could look like. Of course, cover artists, I don't know if they actually see what the characters look like inside before they get to do the covers these days. Because, I mean, you can tell that Jessica Campbell and Art Germ just said, oh, okay, I got to make a blonde-looking Doctor Strange woman sexy. Okay, I can do that. Without even, like, there's no other clue to who, like, what she can do or what she's supposed to look like. So, I don't know. Doctor Strange, I jumped in and started reading some Doctor Strange. It's hard to read Doctor Strange.
I agree.
I don't, and I feel bad for saying that, but there's just so much like magical lore and language, that stuff that I just don't know, and I'm like, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Even when you had like Kate's doing it and different ones that could actually, I like some of their. I think Jason Aaron did it for a little bit. And like the art was great, but it's hard. I picked, of course, I maybe made a mistake, and I started in the 90s, and that was sort of stupid.
Right. Oh, that's probably always a terrible idea. I think the only Doctor Strange book I've read in the last like 5 years was a one shot that Greg Smallwood illustrated.
Is that The Oath? No.
No.
Magic Bullets.
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was. It was like maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
But Greg Smallwood did the illustration. It's awesome. It's like old man Strange too. So I'm always a sucker for the old man since I'm an old man. Cool.
So this is my pick. I read the solicitation. Basically, they're giving Spider-Woman her Sinister Six. Is what it amounts to. Called the Arachnine. The team Arachnine's something. Several different covers. No real big incentive covers, but you get actually sort of like this Momoko cover in the center.
Yeah, me too.
And then the one on the right is it's he became the bad guy in issue 15 and 14 when he was created. It's actually her brother who took spider serum type of thing and became this ultra bad guy. And then that's her girlfriend, or his girlfriend, that's choking out, and then she calls herself the Rose. So obviously in my mind there's going to be some of her Spider-Woman bad guy team, the Arachnine or whatever.
Right.
But sometimes those things, Sinister Six, the original version, worth a lot of money. The other versions, when they've had different teams, climb depending on whatever the perfect team is that makes it to a movie. I mean, I told you, I think when we talked about new characters, I read through the first 15 issues of Spider-Woman. I enjoyed it. It was a good read. It wasn't too back lore and all that type of stuff, so it was worth giving it a read. Batman Killing Time #1.
A lot of covers.
There are a lot of covers. I ended up going with just the cover A and the one for 25 and one for 50. But there are a lot of covers. I think there's even some store exclusives for it.
I don't actually know much about this. It kind of snuck up on me.
Yeah.
But it's Tom King, right?
Yeah, it's Tom King and Marquez.
Yeah. That's a good team. I like both of them. I mean, well, I like Tom King half the time, like everybody does.
And I think there's even like first appearance. Batman first appearances are like don't really carry too much weight, and then all of a sudden they do. It's like, but I think there's a new. I don't know if they're like all the super bad people all are part of an organization again or something, but I think there's some, maybe the Help I think is what it's called. But as far as predicting value, this one for 50 Momoko I think is $70, $75, $100 right now. I don't know if it'll go up. I'm not a fan of it, but Momoko hasn't done too many DC. So if you're a Momoko fan and you're a Batman fan, supposedly Momoko was exclusive to Marvel now. But here she is doing a Batman cover. She has a Red Room variant coming out here soon. I'm just like, okay, what does exclusivity mean these days? I can't, because like Fornes just signed that contract with DC where he's exclusive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you have a set of probably 15 covers coming out for Marvel here soon. So I don't know what that looks like.
I mean, who knows how long the back,
oh yeah,
the backup is, and how long ago she did this drawing. Like,
true, because it feels a lot more like some of her early where she was obsessed with.
Yeah, it could have
drawing
been.
the crooked necks.
This could be like 4 or 5 years old. Like, who knows? Because artists are always making stuff, and then they've just got things sitting around, and somebody's like, "Hey, what do you got for this?" And they're like, "What do you think of this?" And it actually works, because she's hot, so they want to throw as much as they can.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm gonna check this out. It's 40 pages. I like that.
It's one of those. I know, and you're a Batman guy.
Yeah.
Is there too much Batman right now?
Well, there's a movie coming out in a week.
Yeah.
And that so anytime there's a movie, they go crazy and pump it and pump it and pump it. Same with toy. I mean, it's they want people who go see that movie and get jazzed up about Batman. They're going to go to the comic shop. They're going to go to the toy shop. So they want to have so much on the shelves that, and it's a number one because it just came out. So they'll pick that up,
Yeah.
I think that's where we're sitting at. But also, I mean, I figure this is just leftover Tom King from his run that got sliced up.
Oh, yeah.
And, whether or not it was, he probably took it and tweaked it so it could have a, ending that fit. But, he had written so much more Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably see more of these as the years go by because, like I said, half the time, awesome. The other half, you're like, man, he was not in a good mood these days.
Well, I think the pressure of one right after the other, eventually gets to you. I mean,
it's a slog.
Yeah, unless you can write really solid arcs every time. But like, I mean, Snyder had his holes in his 52 run.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some of those stories were great, and then some of them were like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Snyder even talks about that, like how scared he was about writing Batman the first time, and then it's Black Mirror, and it's like way up here, and everybody loves it, and then to have to do it for 52 issues, like that has to be terrifying. And again, about half of that is really, really fun and good. Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty good. Like, comics in the end are disposable. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, we all put them in bags and boards and keep them in a box. But like, used to buy them for a nickel, 10 cents, and then read it and throw it away. So, I think batting 500 in comics is really, really good.
I hadn't thought of that.
And I don't think people think about that. I think they're like, oh, well, Tom King sucks. No, Tom King doesn't suck. Like, half of his stuff is really great, and you really like it. And the artists that he works with are spectacular most of the time. So if you're getting 50%, you're batting 500 writing a good story that's exciting and people like it. Man, that's incredible, especially with how much they're making them do it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. I mean, Batman, they did this with Spider-Man. Okay, let's do 3 issues a month.
Right.
What the hell? Like, I mean, yes, writers can do that and artists can, but the quality will suffer. It's one thing to do it for an arc, but it's another thing. Detectives been going. It feels like they've been going like this for 4 months now. I mean, like they're just pushing through to the next milestone. Spider-Man's pushing through the next milestone. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man #1. For this last volume came out 2 years ago, and they're almost to issue 90.
Jeez.
That should be issue 24, maybe 30. I mean, but maybe it was 3 years ago, but either way, it shouldn't be close to 90. Yeah. And they're almost on issue 90, and they're about to restart at like 94. They're going to restart it again. And it's just like, and they're restarting, and then they have a milestone issue, like, because I mean, Marvel's trying to get to that Amazing Spider-Man 1000 to catch Batman. Or catch a detective. I'm like, but it doesn't count the same.
Right.
Just because you produce that many issues doesn't really mean if you push through.
Yeah, it's the Todd McFarlane, like, numbers. Only the numbers matter.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't really matter if it was good or how we got here, but we got there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shoot, Savage Dragon is still producing comics. No one's buying them. Well, I'll say that people are buying them, but there's only between 8 and 10,000 of every issue ever made. But he's going to hit 300 probably in 2 years because he just keeps making it, and that's okay. I mean, I'm happy that he's doing it. I mean, it's awesome to say, "Hey, I've done it for 300." But McFarlane, I mean, he turned around and made Spawn super popular again. Like I was listening to the shop that day talking about Spawn being amazing. I'm like, he was like, "Yeah, dude, 2 years ago, no one gave a fuck about Spawn."
No.
I mean,
no, I don't
you
think
had your
they
Spawn
did.
collectors, but you didn't have the Spawn crazies.
Yeah.
So speaking of,
I got into Spawn when Jason Shawn Alexander started drawing.
Oh yeah, but no one was buying it. Like,
no, just me.
I remember you because you hooked me into looking, and I was like, "Oh, these were beautifully painted pieces." And then all of a sudden, oh wait, we're almost at 300.
Yeah.
Let me start telling you how low printed issue 172 is.
Yeah.
But
I do remember that was funny. All right, so here's Miles.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this.
It's a gimmick. I mean, it's the same time they're doing this, they're doing Gwenverse that comes out next month. So I'm not sold on it. But I was telling you earlier, and I saw this the other day, or today. I flipped through the issue Miles Morales 35. Just came out Wednesday. If you go to the end of the issue, there's a panel, and it's all these different dimensions that Miles is about to walk through a door into. And one of the panels has Miles' cap. It's cameo. It's not a first appearance. It's not even a full body. To me, it's a true cameo. It's not this debate of full Wolverine's on the entire back page, says his name and says Bub. But nope, it's only a cameo because it doesn't contribute to the story. No, this is looks like almost like a shard of glass type of cameo type thing.
Right.
But it makes me think, hey, these issues might have some connection. Because you were telling me there's 3?
Yeah. The second Miles Morales, what if Miles Morales #2, he's Wolverine, and then Miles Morales #3, he's Hulk.
Yeah.
So before I saw that, I thought, oh, this is a cool one-off. Like, maybe, like, because part of me is like, are we having identity issues with Miles here, and we don't know what to do with him? Because
I still haven't been sold in his new costume. No. The tight pants and the hoodie. Like, I can do the hoodie. I can't do the tight pants or whatever it is.
But then he's Wolverine and then he's Hulk. And I'm like, okay, so he's going to quantum leap it through, like, character, like, who he is. It looks pretty great. The design for Wolverine looks great. The design for Cap, I mean, this kind of seems like Falcon as Cap to me. But the design for Hulk is weird. I didn't love it. But interesting that they're doing it, and that made me think, okay, they're pushing something's happening.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't know what's necessarily happening. From what I understand from the Miles Morales stuff, like if he's dimension hopping, I knew that issue 38, he runs into like a future him and a future Billy, his sister, as something. So like issue 38, guys, if you have an FOC, that's one you might be looking at picking up some issues of. But from the sounds of it, 35, 36, 37, 38 are all going to have him dimension hopping.
Right.
Well, then he's going to meet himself. He's going to meet all those other characters who you never know. Those are always throw it in your back issue bin for see what happens. So I know I'm going to pick up 35. I'm going to pick up the one for the variants if they seem like. I mean, I don't think the one for 25 this last one, but it probably will have a second print once word gets out that this starts this what ifs thing.
Yeah. Because I mean, it said Miles Morales what if #1, but I just assumed it was a one shot, and that was me just assuming that, I guess,
Well, because the way they've done what ifs since I guess the 90s is just randomly throwing a what if, like what if Spider-Man remained the other? What if Spider-Man was black and black? I mean, like, it's just random ones. Or what if the Planet Hulk never happened or something?
Yeah. So that's, I just figured the same thing was happening. And then I just happened to click on the solicitation and start looking around. And because there were so many covers, I was like, well, I'll just keep digging, and saw I mean, there's only for now. There's only like 4 covers for number 2 and 3 covers for number 3, but that may jump through the roof. Yeah.
I from what I understand, it takes you have to you have to get the art to the store or to Marvel so far in advance.
Right.
So it's usually whether or not a store reveals they're exclusive or not, but it'll definitely be before FOC for the book usually. So FOC I think is usually 3 weeks. I think Marvel now is like 4 weeks before the book comes out.
So maybe next week that we check again, and it's crazy. So.
Yeah, it could be. It's usually the go-tos for Marvel are let's see, Unknown Comics and Golden Apple and Frankie's. They're always the ones who do Marvel books because they're the big enough stores to split it amongst themselves and have 3,000 copies.
Right.
Midtown will do one, and you don't even know Midtown did one. Told you it was second print galore week. Yep. It is second print galore, guys. I'm going to show you 6 covers, but there's about 10 or 12 second prints coming out this week of what were hot books at a certain point. Like, there's that Catwoman 39. Damn it, I missed out on the one for 25. Well, second print, here it is. It's just a purple background, which Joe, I don't mind. The white I liked a whole lot.
I like it just as much, I think.
Yeah, and it's cover price. There might be another version. I didn't see it, but there might be a one for 25 of the second print. That's like who knows? It probably red, or maybe they're saving red for the third print. Right. So if you missed out, guys, go to your local store or go to Midtown or go to your online shop and order it. On the far right, you have that 1 for 10 that everyone missed out on that they really wanted, the Bloodstone. Here it is. The only difference being, I think the word, it wasn't in red at the top. It was a different color or something. But I mean, I hate to say it, I'm probably going to pick both of these up because I sort of wanted them just to be able to have them. But like you and I, our LCS still had 60 copies of Bloodstone sitting on the wall.
Yep.
Now they didn't have any of the 1 for 10s, but they had the rest of them. And this.
Yeah, I never saw that. I saw a lot of A's and B's.
Yeah.
What is this middle thing? I don't know anything about it.
Avengers Forever. A few years ago, they did Avengers Forever, and it's basically what if storylines, or sort of this. I think Avengers Forever might be more of a Wastelanders future type of story. To be honest, I haven't read it.
Okay.
But this, I like this cover. I mean, I have no idea what it's going on, but I like this cover. It makes me want to, like, I'm going to go back and read issue 1. I'm going to track it down and read it just to see what the heck, if this is an image from the back or if this is a new cover. I'm always a big fan of new covers for second prints.
Yes.
So love that. And then here's some more second prints for you. I looked at Key Collector today, and Key Collector says this is a 1 for 25 cover. When I go online to eBay, it's $5, it's $10, it's $16, it's $20. Make up your mind, eBay. What is it? Is it a second print? And then maybe there's a foil version I'm not aware of that's a 1 for 25 or something like that. But like, once again, we both told you last week, or 2 weeks ago, we showed up at the shop on a Monday after the book had been released, and we were able to get our Darth Vader 20 Sprouse variant for cover price.
Yeah, you texted me and said, hey, they got 4 of them. And it was Monday afternoon, and I was like, okay. So I went over and grabbed one. Like,
I mean,
I thought I'd never see it because I was paying attention to the world instead of going to the shop.
No, that's right. Like, I went to other shops and they didn't have them. Like, the one shop we have is really good about getting, and they have a pretty good eye for what will be popular. But
they limit people too. Yeah. I don't remember if it said limit 1 or 2, but I think they had a limit on it.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely go in every day and buy new, but at each purchase you can only buy one at a time.
Right.
Which I appreciate shops that do that. But yeah. So I'm just prefacing that, guys. Don't go crazy. I mean, I know I have friends that have already gone crazy and they bought 15, 20 copies of the first one and 50 of the second. I'm like, I know Star Wars is huge, but they're not in the book.
Right.
They're not in the book. They're not in the book.
I got one.
Yeah, that's all. I mean,
I didn't open it. I got it, and I thought, well, there's Darth Vader in there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll read that. Never.
Yeah. And then we'll come to find out like some major character.
Oh yeah, it'll be
dies in the book, and it's
really
like
amazing
the book.
Yeah.
Strange Academy 15. This is the Gaslight character. His cover appearance, second print.
Yeah, you were talking about him a couple weeks ago.
Issue 14 is his first appearance, so it's like, does a cover appearance make this book collectible? I don't know. I don't like the fact that it's just a color swipe. Same thing with Hulk 3 here. I do actually like this better than the regular cover. The regular cover is yellow. It means orange and yellow with Wolverine in the back. But I do sort of like this black and white. Now, will I go out and chase these down? No. I probably will. This slide, I'll probably pick up these books. This slide, I probably won't pick up any of them. If my store carries them. So, those are second print set, guys. There's a few more. We'll get to the end of the show and we'll show you the list of all the different ones that are coming out because there's just so many.
Speaking of Star Wars.
Yeah. This is just I'm sorry. It catches my breath every time I look at when I put all three of these covers together. It blows my mind. Like any one of them is amazing, but they go A and B cover.
And they all Brown. They also all work really well together. They don't just aren't just like visually striking, but they all kind of like lead into each other in a really weird way that they probably did not plan.
I didn't even thought of they do flow. Like having them side by side, you're like, oh,
it's really nice. Because you had, we were going to talk about this, so I was looking at them and I was like, oh, I really like that one. And then I pulled up the next one and I was like, no, this one's the one to get. And then I pulled up the one for 25 and I was like, okay, they really did a good job. And like, I don't know anything about the High Republic. I haven't read any of it. The only thing I know is these design like covers that keep popping up. I find those interesting just because of the art. The art, like artist in me wants to be like, oh, how are they designing these things? I didn't recognize that that's a Phil Noto cover. And like Phil Noto is like, you've got your radar. Every time you see one, you're like, oh, there it is. But this character does not look like Phil Noto to me. So that's also really cool to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go back and now read issue 1 of Eye of the Storm. Marshawn Rowe is the character that was actually, I think, High Republic Adventures. I think it was 2, but maybe it was 1. This is like his first appearance, and his first cover is 3, maybe, or maybe it's 2, something like that. But then there's also a store exclusive on High Republic because he's just a cool looking bad guy.
Is he the main villain for the High Republic?
I think he is. I just don't know if it's for the High Republic or the Adventures, where he's the main villain. I haven't read them like you. So it's like I bought a few of them. I have.
He kind of looks like Grand Admiral Thrawn.
With the blue and the skin.
Yeah, with the blue skin and stuff. So I thought that was cool. I don't know anything about this, but this is the thing that gets you into it.
Oh yeah,
so that's smart. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing because we're both talking about it and like looking it up.
Well, and this Miko's Suan cover or whatever, already at 50 and climbing. Like, it's gorgeous. It's great. I mean, I love the Ryan Brown. The cover A, I'm happy with. The B, I'm okay with. Like Noto's, but I love this Ryan Brown. Usually Ryan Brown's, I'm some of his stuff I really like, and some of them like okay, a little too digital for me.
Yeah.
No, all three of these covers.
They all three look like super great digital paintings. Like really nice.
There's just covers we like, guys. Noctera. Once I've only read I've read the first issue.
I read it because we talked about it. I caught up. It's good. It feels like Scott Schneider wrote it.
Okay.
And I liked it. I think there's a lot of potential, especially if this keeps going on. I didn't really love how he was telling the story, if that makes sense, but he was super proud. Like you can tell when you read it that he's really proud of his world building because there's a lot of him just like having the characters talk about the world building, and you can hear his voice like, I can't believe I came up with this, because there are some really good ideas and some pretty fun characters.
Does he do a better? Like Witches was one that drove me nuts because I needed more story.
Yeah. Now this is kind of a slower burn than Witches. Witches had I had problems with Witches too, and you know how much I love Jock and Matt Hollingsworth, and I freaking hated how they colored that book. It's just one of the few books that I've ever been like, I hate this. Sometimes I'm like, this isn't good. I can read it. Yeah. No, this is a lot more like Mad Max meets Riddick.
Yeah.
And those are two fun things. Like, you don't take either one of those very seriously. It's Mad Max and Riddick. But done right, it can look very visually striking. There's some world building going on in the background that's really nice. I was very skeptical. You know how I feel about Tony Daniel. But this is pretty good. I really like this cover too. It's Christian Ward.
Yeah.
We both love Christian Ward.
Christian Ward, he does the way he uses colors. I end up buying his covers every time. The bad thing is almost all of them are incentives. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. And he's writing a book with Patrick Reynolds about vampires that comes out in maybe late March.
Okay.
Which I didn't know. Like, that's got me written all over it, right? So yeah, I like this cover a lot, man. He's weird. He's got that like Greg Tachani like kind of flow to things, where I'm usually tend to kind of be more in the John Paul Leon, Tommy Lee Edwards type, you don't actually draw the curve unless you're using the curve, you know what I mean? And but I love it when he's doing, like, this is a cool looking cover. The color's awesome, drags you right to it. Really like it.
Throwing you another Black History Month cover, Fantastic Four, 41. It hasn't popped quite like the Schwabe Riri, but with the TV show coming out, I think people are going to be going for every Moon Girl cover they can find. Now, the catch is most stores will wear that, so I'm guessing they might have picked up a few more of these. But, I mean, I like the cover.
Me too.
I haven't...
I couldn't tell what it was at first.
Yeah.
Until I made it big, because I was like, what the heck? Is that a bunny? But once you see Devil Dinosaur, man, you're like, oh, this is awesome. It's a good choice. I really like it too.
Loaded Bible is one I added today. We usually make this on like Monday or Tuesday. I was reading through solicitations, saw this cover, and I was like, well, crap. I mean, I'm a sucker for, I guess, primary color negative space variants, and this is almost a color bleed or whatever you want to call it. It's not quite negative space variant, but and also like when I see the cover A for this, I'm like, oh, what? It's just dudes fighting. It's supposed to be Jesus. I'm like, I'm not too interested. Then I'm realizing it's Jesus fighting vampires. It's like, what the? Okay, this is like the second part. There's a story 1, and this is like a story 2. But this is by Scott Forbes. This is just like the cover C.
He is always telling people to drink his blood. That's got to be rough, Like, oh my gosh, I asked for this. What an idiot!
I never even thought of that. And I haven't read it. It makes me want to go back and read the other, because this is issue 1 of this. And there's actually an incentive.
When did the other volume or whatever start?
I feel like last year. Like, I think they did I mean, Image is smart with this. They do the 5 issues and then 5 issues again or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have any guarantee that someone's going to pick it up. Some more covers we like. I have to throw a Fornés cover whenever.
One of my least favorite Batmans, though.
Yeah. That was, what is it? It's a incentive cover from Batman. Crap, it's like an $80 book. The incentive cover, because it's so rare because no one picked up incentives or cared about them back then.
Yeah.
This is Martin Simmons' Moon Knight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I love this.
It's cool.
If you can't tell, behind our screen here, it's where I use the image as our background. Yeah. It's a really good cover, and it's going to be expensive, I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure. Is it an incentive?
I honestly can't remember. I didn't mark it as one, but it might be. Yeah, I think it is. I think when we get to the other, we'll see that it's an incentive. And then Rogue Sun 1, you picked up Supermassive. Here's Rogue Sun.
I haven't read it yet, but the art looked pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really, really clean and action, like super action packed. So
yeah, I'm gonna pick them all up. I feel like all the stores are gonna at least have 50 copies of them. So
yeah,
finding one shouldn't be hard. I like this as a 1 for 10. We'll look at some of the other numbers for the incentives. A few more covers. I sort of like Avengers Forever that I showed you earlier. The second print, it has a 1 for 50, and I do remember this cover being a color cover, and this is the black and white version. For Dodderman does these. This is Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, he's hit or miss for me, but
yeah. I do like his themes that he's been doing. Some of them have become very valuable. The where he takes a character and does every version of the character's costume.
Yeah.
There's one coming out.
That was pretty cool. I like that
one. This is Stephanie Hans, Black Panther 4. It's a 1 for 25. You get your boy Tosin or whatever that everyone went crazy for in issue 3. Are people only speculators, or do they actually want to see him develop as a character? So this will be the test.
This will tell you, huh?
This will probably, I think but Stephanie Hans is hard to tell because her covers usually, especially incentives, are usually over ratio from the start. So I think this one was a $50. This initially was listed to come out last week or this week, I guess, and then it got pushed another week. And then this is Nakayama doing Gwen X-23 for the Gwenverse stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
He's the one who's doing the covers for the main series, so I would pick this up if I just like this cover. Anything X-23 related, and he made a shiny plastic toy that you could easily see becoming a real toy.
Yeah, for sure. It also has like the 90s Marvel trading card feel to it with that background. You know what I mean? So there's
Nakayama did the X-Men 92 series that came out. He was the cover guy.
That makes sense.
And he does, of course, all the toy boxes, whatever, for a lot of those as well. Indie Spotlight, we've talked about some of the indie books that we like, so it's sort of hard to just have our little Spotlight section. But, Joe, this cover, and I don't...
Oh, man, I know. I don't know. I've tried to find as much as I can about this, and I can't find much.
Yeah. The full title is Radio Spaceman Mission to Numa 4.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You
hate long titles, but that's a really good one.
Yeah, I mean it'll be just called Radio Spaceman. I'm not even sure if it's a 1 of 2. So,
okay.
But I
love that about him.
Yeah,
it makes me so happy. Like, I also love that like Marvel Star Wars is on like 75. Like that's incredible. But if this was like Hellboy 412, it'd be different.
Yeah.
You can just grab stuff, whatever he's writing. You can just grab those little tiny things and read them. And he's such a good writer that you don't actually have to know all of the backstory. You don't get lost in it. It's purely character driven. So like, I'm super excited about this. I had no idea it was a thing until we started looking up stuff. And cover's amazing.
And then it helps that he always has Dave Stewart as colorist.
Yeah.
He's gone through a couple different artists throughout this thing, but they basically know, everyone's like, okay, this is the style if I'm doing a Magnolia book for Dark Horse. This is what I do. Dave Stewart's going to color it, so it's going to have these 3 main colors.
It's going to look great if Dave Stewart does it. Like, it's just, he's incredible.
Yeah.
And, somebody told me he could color a page in about 10 minutes. Like, holy crap. But think of all the pages that dude's colored for Magnolia, alone, like thousands and thousands of them.
I'm pretty sure, didn't he do the Walking Dead Deluxe?
I think so.
So I mean, like he started on that before they started. He had done like through issue 50 before they released them.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. But yeah, I'm excited about this book. I saw a comment on something where somebody was like, "Does anybody know if this actually even touches the Hellboy universe, or is it just by itself?" And I'm sure it does. Everything touches.
Or if people like it, he'll bring it in, or it'll be.
Yeah. But I mean, if this is what that character looks like, he's awesome.
I definitely will at least open this and look at it in the shop. To see. And then of course I always like highlighting the Saturday Night Evening Posts.
Yep.
And they're just gorgeous.
Yeah. Sean Alexander. Yeah, when he posted that on Instagram, did you see it when he posted on Instagram unfinished? And I was like, don't touch it. What are you doing? And he went back in and basically he just rendered all the skulls because they were just kind of like Jim Mahfood like skulls. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. You can finish those.
Well, all of these have every one of his Saturday Evening Posts have a retailer exclusive cover too, where the Nita Hall's Nightmare blog is actually the trade. You can see it.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, and everything else is behind it. So like the issue one, I got the issue 1 like that. But I think every store gets a 1 per store. So sometimes like this one, I don't know if it'll have one because I don't know how it will work looking wise.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
But like basically where the white moon is where you'd see thank you variant or whatever written. So like he designs it that way. It's pretty cool. And then this is where I wish Frank was on here. I think there's a couple of different covers. This is Ashley Wood's annual magazine at something or another, 7174. I've seen at least 2 different covers for this, so I'm not sure if this is the main cover or if the other one's the main cover. I mean, stores only show 1 cover. When I look up something, I don't know which one's the right cover.
I've only seen 1. Yeah, this is funny. I'm looking here at it, and it's like it's all his newer stuff. I feel like Ashley Wood is a marketing genius. Like he has so many things going on, and he doesn't even have to work anymore. Like he can go make a painting and be like, I want a new car. I'll go make 2-3 paintings. Like that's how his following is. They're just people that purely collect. Like Frank is a freaking mad Ashley Wood fan. Like it's nuts. Like if Ashley Wood drops a sketchbook, Frank's bought it. Like he's pre-ordered it 6 months in advance. Like I love his work too. Like don't get me wrong, I really like it, and I like. I think P.T. Louise is his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
I'm not the fan.
Yeah,
I like some of his stuff.
I think so. And so they're, this is like in-house, like in-house comics. Like they just make them. It's big. It's 90 pages or something. It's $10. That's
so this is not a.
Yeah.
This is I'm an Ashley Wood fan or really like art fan. This is not because it's not going to be like stories that are going to go anywhere.
No. That's one of the problems with some of his stuff. He'll make like there's a bunch of stuff that you can find like 1 issue of, and you're like, whoa, this is cool, and then they never made any more. Like that's just all it is.
Well, didn't he do like some sort of zombie series, Zombies and Robots or something?
Zombies and Robots is great. Robots vs. Zombies. World War Zombie. They're awesome, actually. Really fun art wise. They're a little hard to follow, but you don't really buy them for the story. I hate to say it that way, but I mean, you don't. You buy it to see the economic. It's like he's Jim Mahfood, but like a lot more realistic. Instead of I'm going to draw this like I drew it in 7th grade on my cover for my math notebook. So yeah. But I mean, I'm going to pick it up probably.
Okay. So we're going to pause again, middle of our show, before we get to the rest of our stuff, to remind you guys that we are doing a giveaway. And if you want a chance to grab Dog Days, Stray Dogs, Dog Days #1, the Ghostbusters variant, here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to be a follower on Instagram of Joe and myself, which is if you go on the YouTube, you click on it, you can like the video, leave a comment on the video, and then also leave a comment on both of our Instagrams saying, hey, I like yours, whatever it is. And next week when we're on the show, we will go through our stuff beforehand and say, okay, do you have comments from both people? If we have all that stuff, we will DM you. We will send you the book. You'll get it in the mail. But we want to participate. We want participation back and forth. We want to see comments on our videos and likes and subscribes and all those different things. So we figure do some giveaways. Maybe that'll encourage you guys. But like I said, if you want Stray Dogs #1, you have to like and subscribe both of mine and Joe's Instagram. You have to comment on it. Joe will have a post that basically he'll copy the post that I have, and you can comment on that post and comment on my post that has this book on it, and then on this YouTube video here you can leave a comment, and that's how you can get the book. So you have to comment on both Joe's Instagram, my Instagram, and on this video. That's 3 different comments. It shouldn't. I mean, hey, thumbs up, whatever it is you want, just a comment. I mean, the more in depth, the better. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, any of that type of stuff. But yeah, so let's get back to the list, because now we're into the part of here's all the different incentives that you could potentially have. So let's jump in and look at some of the ones we get to see. Incentive variants, there aren't quite as many, Joe, this week. I'm throwing this. This is the Dark Knights of Steel.
Yeah.
I'm not as big a fan of it, but I also do know there are Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy fans out there. They sell as far as covers go. Word is getting out. People remember when I showed off that Middleton cover?
Yeah.
Slowly, I'm hearing more and more people go, "Why is no one talking about this cover? This is one of the best covers he's done in a few books." And so this is not Middleton. Middleton actually does the cover B for this. It's not bad. It's more of a arrows and Maid Marian sort of looking cover to it. But this is.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It's pretty good too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like the Harley Quinn one before a little bit better. This is Ijikure. This particular artist has done several store exclusives for different people, but this is the first time. I think first time I saw this name was for something's killing children, maybe issue 14 or 15. But Behemoth label, Follow Me Into the Darkness.
Yeah,
is the follow-ups to You Promised Me Darkness.
Yep.
Which is one of the most frustrating books, and to me was the beginning of the end of store exclusives jumping on every gossiped indie book to come out, because so many stores jumped on that book and so many people jumped on buying that book, and then they found out it was terrible. Like, the art wasn't great on the inside.
I like the artwork
on the inside.
Yeah, it is really hard to follow.
That's what I heard. It was just like, what is going on? I can't follow this thing.
Yeah, I read the first 2, and I will probably read all of it. I like the artwork. I started following him, Damian Connolly, on Instagram.
But does the story ever make sense?
I don't know. I only read the first 2, but one of the problems is, it's smart writing wise. His narrator is really unreliable, but for a #1 comic that you're picking up and you don't know anything about this guy and you don't know anything about this world, is really jarring.
Yeah.
But he's from like South America.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's probably some kind of translational issues going on or something, and like he's got a ton. He's kind of got like Ashley Wood following.
Okay.
In South America or wherever he's from, because if you noticed, his name is the first thing. Damian Connolly's You Promised Me Darkness.
Yeah.
Like it's like James Patterson. Like, oh, it's got James Patterson. I'll grab it. You know, that kind of thing is already happening. So we're just all late to the party. So yeah. I think there's a lot of that. Like, oh, he's already had success other places. Now they're throwing him into the American market. I think that's kind of what we're looking at.
See, and that
helps
was
me. The same thing. I was like, what the heck is this?
Well, and like I'm trying to think. Like I had a copy of I had a store exclusive of one of them. Was a nice store exclusive, but like the covers, the art on the cover, I was like, okay, these are pretty cool. Like they shot up for 2 weeks, and then as people actually read the book, they went, "Oh, I can't understand what the heck's going on."
Yeah, it's really hard to follow.
It just, and to me but there were so many stores that did exclusives, and after that book, I was like, oh, they're being a little more selective now after getting burned on. And Behemoth is doing this where they're getting a lot of video game properties, obscure TV show properties. I mean, MFKZ motherfuckers or whatever.
Right.
That's a French comic. They've reached out and they're basically just bringing it all to the United States. I give them credit for doing that. I mean, they have some of their own original stuff as well. I know one of the main guys who runs the show, runs the publisher, also writes. He writes Freak Snow, and some of those.
Oh, I read that. That's pretty good.
So, they do some of that, but it is just sort of interesting. But we are noticing every week there's like a new book that actually originated in another country that's brought to the States.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. Again, if they can bat 500, we're gonna be doing all right.
Yeah. As far as this page goes, there's not a whole lot more that was super exciting. I've already showed you some of the covers. Yeah, Jim Henson's Storytellers is a Del Mundo cover, but it's not is my favorite from him.
Oh no.
So, yes, I'm showing you a Star Trek book.
What is going on?
This is Star Trek Discovery Adventures in the 32nd Century #1. This is the incentive. From reading the solicitation, this is the origin story of Grudge the Cat.
Awesome.
I don't know who Grudge the Cat is.
They know what sells.
And the A cover has a cat on the cover too, but I'm just like, it's a cat. And it's Star Trek. I mean, that's all I needed. I mean,
right. I'm curious. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Well, if I find it cheap, I might buy it. But Star Trek, and then the next one, Star Trek Mirror War, Captain LaForge, Geordi. You can get a book with Geordi on the cover.
Nice.
So that's the other one I'd shoot for. No, there's not a whole lot. I mean, Rogue Sun. I mean, there's a 1 for 10, a 1 for 25, 1 for 50. There's hundreds of store exclusives out there for Rogue Sun. So don't go crazy chasing those. Jonathan Hickman did the cover for Loaded Bible. He did an incentive. I didn't realize he did some art on the side. Like, it's sort of like Lemire. You forget that they do other things besides just write. Then we get the Marvel incentives. We've already showed you the ones we really like. That Martin Simmons is a 1 for 25.
It's awesome.
The Alien cover's sort of fun. It's not my favorite, but there really weren't any that we hadn't already shown off. So, yeah. So those are sort of the ones you can go for. Guys, I said that we're going to look at second prints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 second prints are coming out this week. And I think I left 1 or 2 off this list. We talked about that. The one that I'm showing you here is this dual book. This one frustrates me because this is a case of a YouTube influencer picking a book out of a hat and saying it's going to be something, so it became something. So now it's gone to a second print. Key Collector picked it up and ran with it, and it's all about this guy's speculation that's saying that the guy who's on this label and wrote this book is somehow connected. Curtis Martin's evidently worked at Disney, so he knows what a Disney. So he has connections. I'm just like, this book could be something. Crime books for comics only are flippable the second they get optioned.
Right.
There are so many books that lose value. They never really gain value. Like, they're only hot for a second. I mean, I might even do it. That might be my article this week where I just go through and look at 7 or 8 books that were hot for a second, strictly based off an option news. And then even when the show came out, October Faction was one that came out that it's not worth anything. I mean, yeah. So we can go through that. There is a Venom 4 second print. There's also the Something's Killing the Children Slaughter Pack, Volume 2. So I got 1 through 5 when it came out, the David Mack set. Now he did a 6 through 10. He did that as well. I probably will not pick that one up. I was sort of not disappointed. I don't know what I was expecting. It's not, and I don't know how collectible it actually will be. I mean, I think there's too many of them out there, and then when you're dropping $40 on them, it's sort of But so yeah, guys. Like I said, this is Comic Talk and Sketches. This is Joe. This is Chris. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for catching our show. If you want this book here, you have to like, you have to subscribe, you have to say, hey, and you have to give us a comment on all 3 places. On Joe's Instagram, which is in the it's in the write-up on the YouTube channel. and it's on my Instagram. You can go there, and then also here, just to let us know what you like. We'll sit back next week's show. We'll tell you who the winner is, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys for watching. Catch you next week. If I can get my mouse to go to the right